ABC, this is World News Tonight, with Peter Jennings at the Foreign Desk in London, Max Robinson at the National Desk in Chicago, a special assignment report, the Domestic Terror Network, and from our desk in Washington, Frank Reynolds.
Good evening. It is almost like a comic opera, but all involved are taking it very seriously. A Soviet submarine trapped in waters definitely off limits to it, and so a strange sort of standoff continues tonight. For the story, we go to our Foreign Desk in London and Peter Jennings. Peter?
Frank, the Swedish military spokesman said today this is the first time Sweden and perhaps the world has had a situation like this. He was describing the fourth night on the rocks for Soviet submarine number 137, 20 miles inside Sweden's territorial waters. It's become a compelling scene. The Swedes wanting to know what the sub was doing there, the Soviet submarine commander still insisting he got lost. From Stockholm, ABC's Jacques Grenier.
The Soviet captain aboard the submarine refuses to answer any questions from Swedish authorities until he receives orders directly from senior officers in the Soviet Union. Until those orders come, he says he will not leave his boat. Though salvage vessels are standing by, the Swedes say they will not pull the submarine off the rocks until their investigation into the incident is complete. The Soviets insist the submarine wandered to within a few miles of a sensitive Swedish naval base because of faulty equipment. The Swedes bluntly refuse to believe that.
Let's say the gyros or the radars or whatever you use, they would have gone wrong long before they entered Swedish territory. So the explanation can't be very true.
So, armed Swedish troops will watch over the submarine and keep away sightseers and foreign journalists until the Swedes feel they have a better explanation. But there are signs of progress. Officials at the Soviet embassy in Stockholm today requested that Soviet diplomats be present if and when Soviet crew members are questioned. The Swedes quickly said yes.
What we expect is to establish the truth in this matter, see to it that Swedish sovereignty is upheld, and when that process is carried through, after it's carried through, I think the submarine will be returned to the Soviet Union.
Not surprisingly, officials here at the Soviet embassy have no comment on the submarine incident. It's an embarrassment they could obviously do without. Jacques Grenier, ABC News, Stockholm.
From Sweden to a more profound problem for the Soviet Union, Poland. Throughout the country, wildcat strikes continue. The economy continues to suffer hammer blows. In Warsaw, yet another government shuffle, and an appeal for an end to the strikes by the man who is now both Communist Party chief and prime minister. As Jerry King reports, where now there's an appeal, there may yet be an order.
As expected, the Polish Prime Minister, General Wojciech Jaruzelski, stopped short of legislating a ban on strikes. He indicated, however ambiguously, that would be the next step if Solidarity ignores his appeal. Particularly worrisome for the general were some recent wildcat strikes in defense-related industries, which are strategically important to the Russians. One thing Jaruzelski did do today was to fire the minister responsible for food distribution. Food shortages are the main cause of the current strike wave. Hours before this parliamentary session, the Solidarity Union was sending out telexes proposing its own ban on at least unauthorized strikes. Solidarity even proposes disciplinary action against the leaders of wildcat walkouts. One such is in Zielona Góra. Lech Wałęsa was there today making a personal appeal for an end to the two-week strike in which workers are pressing for the dismissal of the manager of a state-run farm. Wałęsa said such strikes are counterproductive and were causing Solidarity to disintegrate. So, for perhaps the first time in the past 14 months, Solidarity, the Communist Party, and the government all have one thing in common: the need to end destructive strikes. Jerry King, ABC News, Warsaw.
Well, still ahead, Elvis Presley's physician takes the stand in his own defense. A clean bill of health, the President and Mrs. Reagan as they head to Camp David for the weekend. And the story of a very special breed of horse that's living history from the Wild West.
ABC's World News Tonight, brought to you by Conoco.
America needs to find oil in reliable places, at home and in other places we can count on, such as the British and Norwegian waters of the North Sea. Here, Conoco has spent hundreds of millions of dollars and pioneered new technology. Beneath these stormy seas, we're finding and producing oil that helps America Conoco, now combined with DuPont for a better energy future.
If you think Preparation H is best for hemorrhoid pain, think twice. Think Tronolane, the remarkable two-step treatment for immediate pain relief. First, it soothes the skin surface, relieves burning and itching. Then its greaseless formula penetrates directly to nerve endings to relieve pain immediately. Remember the T, Tronolane, cream or suppositories. So if you think Preparation H is best for hemorrhoid pain, think twice. Think new Tronolane.
Economic news today and more bad numbers. New home sales last month dropped 12.5%. Only 26,000 new single-family homes were sold in September, the fewest since they started keeping those numbers 18 years ago. And with high mortgage rates scaring buyers away, the selling price of those homes dropped to an average $82,800 in September, a drop of nearly $5,000 in just 1 month. But there was one sign today. Some of those interest rates may be coming down. The Federal Reserve Board lowered its discount rate a full point to 13%, the first reduction in the basic discount rate in over a year. Anticipation of lower interest rates sent the stock market up nearly 20 points. Frank?
Max. Here in Washington today, more pessimism about the economy. And finally, from Secretary of the Treasury Donald Regan, a reluctant admission. The administration's cherished goal of a balanced budget by 1984 is not likely to become a reality. The senators who questioned Regan were not surprised, but they were disturbed. We have a report from congressional correspondent Britt Hume.
Not a good day to be Ronald Reagan's Treasury Secretary on Capitol Hill. The Democrats were all fired up about interest rates, and even Republican Chairman Domenici was out of sorts. He's worried about the deficit. But Regan swallowed hard and acknowledged what everybody around here has suspected for weeks.
Do you think that that it's possible for us to balance the budget in 1984?
It's, again, possible, but I think at this point I'd have to add the same wording as I did to a previous question, but not probable.
Ironically, he said, the ballooning deficit forecasts are caused in part by declining inflation. That limits income bracket creep and holds down the federal tax take. Is the administration about to change its economic policies? No way.
Any indication on our part that we are willing to compromise on the president's program will only signal to the financial markets that it's business as usual in Washington and more inflation is imminent.
But Regal of Michigan, where there is serious economic distress, pounded the secretary hard about tight money and high interest rates, all but demanding more flexibility.
Would you trade that off for inflation?
I don't think that's the choice.
I think it is, Senator.
Well,
the secretary said the economy should be out of its current recession by spring with both inflation and interest rates down, though he acknowledged there is no certainty about such things. It is perhaps fitting that the administration's goal of a balanced budget should be pronounced dead at Halloween, since its ghost could haunt Ronald Reagan for some time. Britt Hume, ABC News, on Capitol Hill.
The President and Mrs. Reagan are at Camp David tonight, no doubt looking forward to a pleasant weekend after a rather eventful and busy week. They left the Bethesda Naval Hospital today after an overnight stay for a routine checkup, and good news from the doctors. We have a report from White House correspondent Sam Donaldson.
When he left the hospital wearing the same Western outfit he had on when he entered it, the president appeared to be in good spirits.
Mr. President, any problems? No. How do you feel?
Fine. What do you think? In fact, the president's doctor made it sound even better than that. He is in excellent health, reported Dr. Daniel Ruge. His blood pressure, pulse, and respiratory functions are normal. He is fully recovered from the gunshot wound, and there is no evidence of disease. As he departed the hospital today, Mr. Reagan left behind some tests that must still be analyzed. But there was no suggestion in Dr. Ruge's report that the findings of those will be anything but normal. The news about Mrs. Reagan is equally good. Her health is reported to be excellent also. All in all, 14 specialists in 5 medical fields examined the president. But though he may not be Superman, his eyesight is bad, his hearing is somewhat impaired, allergies bother him from time to time, is still, for a man 70 years old who bounced back from a bullet wound, the closest thing to Clark Kent in sight at the moment. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, the White House.
One other economic note, Mobil Oil, which tried and failed to take over Conoco this summer, today offered nearly $3.5 billion to buy Marathon Oil. As we noted earlier, anticipation of lower interest rates sent the stock market sharply higher.
Sore throat, Say ah. Septic. The ah in Chloraseptic is for fast temporary relief of minor sore throat pain.
Septic.
Doctors and pharmacists have been recommending Chloraseptic for over 20 years. When your throat hurts, say ah.
Septic.
Liquid, lozenges, and children's Chloraseptic. Fast relief for sore throat pain.
Ah.
Ow! Is this the only one you've got?
No problem, sir.
Would you buy shoes from someone who only had one brand? So why buy insurance from a one-company agent who can only sell you policies from one company? There's another way to buy insurance from an independent agent. He represents several companies, not just one. So he can choose insurance that fits you and your budget.
Maybe you need thin socks, sir.
Look for your independent insurance agent in the Yellow Pages. He's the more than one company agent.
When was the last time you took a look? When was the last time you cooked your old friend cream of wheat? It's nice to know the goodness still remains. Even the package looks the same. It's as good as you remember cream of wheat. Remember the mornings you woke up to a light, smooth taste that let the flavor shine through. It's as good as you remember cream of wheat.
The defense wrapped up its case today in the trial of Elvis Presley's physician by putting the doctor himself on the witness stand. George Nicopolis is charged with 11 counts of overprescribing addictive drugs and could get 10 years in prison on each count. Rebecca Chase reports.
The way Dr. George Nicopolis told it from the witness stand, he acted in good faith to cure the late Elvis Presley's addiction to drugs, and that he was not guilty of the charges against him. The state has presented evidence that Dr. Nicopolis prescribed tens of thousands of uppers, downers, and narcotics to the late king of rock and roll, an amount state witnesses called outrageous and dangerous. Today, Dr. Nicopolis testified he prescribed drugs to patients already addicted to drugs in the hope of gradually lowering the dosage. Sometimes he even substituted harmless pills for hard drugs. Defense attorney James Neal, did you prescribe drugs to Mr. Presley to alleviate pain and suffering or cure disease? Nicopolis, yes. Neal, are you guilty of overprescribing addictive drugs? Nicopolis, no.
Here is a doctor who cared, who did the best he could, given difficult patients, and indeed helped the patients.
Besides Presley, Dr. Nicopolis is charged with overprescribing drugs to 8 other patients, including singer Jerry Lee Lewis. Today, Nicopolis said Lewis and the others have successfully kicked their drug habits under his care. Court has recessed here until Monday, when the state will cross-examine Dr. Nicopolis. By midweek, it's expected the jury will begin deciding whether or not Dr. Nicopolis was, as the state claims, a pill pusher. Rebecca Chase, ABC News, Memphis.
In New York today, the first person indicted in connection with last week's Brink shootout, Eve Rosan, pleaded innocent to charges she knowingly aided the robbers by supplying getaway vehicles. It was the latest development in a case that each day turns up new links between several radical groups from the past. Rita Sands has more in this special assignment report.
To date, the Brinks investigation has led to 15 suspects. 8 people have been directly linked by police to the October 20th holdup and murders. 9 people have been charged in the case. 1 suspect died in a gun battle with police. 5 suspects are still at large in what appears to be a network of new terrorist activity that has apparently brought together 4 radical groups. The Radical Weather Underground, a leading activist in the movement, Catherine Boudin, for 11 years a fugitive from a fatal bomb factory explosion. Boudin was one of the first charged in the Brinks holdup. 2 others charged are also members of the Weather Underground, Judith Clark and David Gilbert. And like Gilbert, all Vietnam-era campus radicals. A 4th suspect, ex-convict Samuel Brown, has not been tied to any radical group. Later arrests include Eve Rosan, associated with the May 19th coalition, an all-female faction of the violence-prone Weather Underground. Rosan is charged as an accomplice in the Brinks case, providing 2 getaway vehicles for the hold-up gang. Evidence obtained in a raided safe house led to 2 more Weather Underground fugitives, Jeffrey Jones and Eleanor Raskin. He was a member of the movement's Central Committee. She, with early ties to Boudin, co-authored a well-known survival manual for the underground. Both Jones and Raskin are charged with running a bomb factory in New Jersey in 1979. They have not been charged in the Brinks crimes. Now, for the first time, the Black Liberation Army surfaces as a partner to the radical Weather Underground. Two terrorist movements, one white, one black, that in the past waged distinctly separate battles against the establishment. But in recent years, their strength has dwindled through arrests and defections. This apparent merger is seen by police as a last desperate attempt at survival. The link, Marilyn Jean Buck, a fugitive gun runner and the only white member of the Black Liberation Army, known to have rented at least 2 hideouts believed used by the Brinks gang. Evidence found in one led to Cynthia Boston, who was captured in this Mississippi farmhouse. Boston, who was charged with conspiracy to commit the Brinks robbery, is identified as a spokeswoman for a black terrorist group known as the Republic of New Africa, a separatist organization with ties to the BLA. Still being sought is Boston's common-law husband, William Johnson, Black Panther and suspected BLA member whose fingerprint was found in a New York hideout. Also seen at that hideout, the only suspect killed in the investigation, Black Panther Samuel Smith, directly linked to the Brinks murders through a spent bullet from a dead officer's gun. Surviving the police shootout that killed Smith, Nathaniel Burns, a Black Panther with strong BLA ties, is charged with 12 counts of attempted murder. Still being sought, Donald Weems, BLA member and escaped convict. Anthony Laborde, BLA member, also wanted for the murder of a New York City policeman last spring. And this woman, Joanne Chesimard, known as Assata Shakur, an escaped police killer, but not directly linked to the Brinks crimes. She is the leader of the Black Liberation Army. Police are attempting to tie suspects in last week's Brinks case to other similar armed robberies. David Gilbert has now been linked directly through a fingerprint to this Brinks heist in which one guard was killed. With close to $1 million missing from similar holdups, investigators are now wondering if they're connected, what the motive might be.
Almost by definition, when you have that kind of money, you have bigger and better goals.
The FBI still holds to its belief that no foreign power is involved. Even with 10 suspects in hand, the Brinks case is far from solved, taking new twists and turns almost daily. Law enforcement officials are reluctant to speculate just yet about the scope of a possible conspiracy, but they do believe they interrupted a plot for violence. Rita Sands, ABC News, New York.
5 right-wing Nicaraguans who hijacked a domestic flight yesterday today swapped 19 of their hostages for 7 of their comrades jailed in Costa Rica. They then flew to a remote landing strip in Honduras and escaped. None of the hostages, including 3 Americans, was hurt. And an Air Force B-52 bomber crashed into the top of a mesa today in a remote section of southeastern Colorado. All 8 crew members were killed. The plane was on a low-altitude training mission and was flying at about 400 feet.
Which real estate company can show a buyer 38 ways to finance your home?
ERA!
Who do you know in real estate that offers the protection plan that can make your house the best buy on the block?
ERA!
Who can show a picture and description of your home in just minutes to buyers all across the country?
ERA. ERA has a lot of ways to help me find more buyers. Call your local ERA real estate specialist. Find out why we're selling houses.
Hello. I was a dedicated blade shaver till my wife bought me this Remington microscreen shaver because it would shave as close as a blade or your money back. The first microscreen is so thin it shaves incredibly close. The second even closer. And Remington's American-made. It costs less. Norelco's imported. It costs much more. I was so impressed, I bought the company. The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade, or I'll give you your money back. And the Lady Remington, the perfect gift, also with a money-back guarantee.
For some time now, General Motors has been talking with people who know cars.
I'm Bemis Rolfs, president of National Car Rental. And last year, we bought more than 50,000 cars and trucks. Most of them American and nearly 75% GM.
What about average GM buyers? When they replace their GM car bought new with another new car, 70% buy GM again. In the U.S., no other major car company, foreign or domestic, comes close. See your GM dealer today.
1951, Lorenzo Lini tried to convince the U.S. Patent Office he could make better coffee by stamping on the beans. He failed. 1963, the Yunt brothers tried to patent the Yunt combustion process. They failed. 1972, Vincent Marotta tried to patent a way to make coffee perfectly by controlling brewing time and temperature. He succeeded. Mr. Coffee, America's perfect coffee maker, with a patent to prove it.
In other news overseas, fresh international attention on Chad. Chad's president has ordered 10,000 Libyan troops in the African state to go home. Last December, Libya intervened in Chad to assist President Gakuni Wedi to win a civil war against his rival defense minister. Well, since then, Libya's Colonel Gaddafi has been an all-too-embracing ally, insisting on union between the two countries. It isn't yet known if Gaddafi has agreed to remove his forces. In Lebanon today, a statement from the PLO chairman, which will get diplomatic attention. Yasser Arafat told a Beirut newspaper he approved of the recent Saudi Arabian peace plan for the Middle East because it speaks of Arab-Israeli coexistence. Whether the Palestinian leader is referring to coexistence between Israel and a potential Palestinian state, or within the single state Arafat has long advocated, remains unclear. From China today, a call for dramatic reduction in the world's population growth. At an Asian conference on population, it was agreed that if all the countries kept to their family planning goals, growth could be reduced to 1% a year by the year 2000. Well, China has the world's single largest population, and our Peking Bureau Chief Jim Laurie has been looking at what Chinese incentives are for lower growth.
People, 1 billion of them, both China's biggest asset and biggest headache. The problems of feeding 1 billion have caused China to launch one of the world's strictest birth control programs. In cities like Shanghai, it seems to be working. Intensive propaganda and family planning counseling in every neighborhood. The object, every young couple is to have no more than 1 child. There are benefits for keeping to 1 child, all hospital care free, fully paid maternity leave, free contraceptives, free school tuition, and cash bonuses to 1-child parents. 26-year-old Tang Mingju is expecting her first child in early January. She says it'll be her only one. Later, she'll consider sterilization. In August, working mothers having their second child were told they would not be eligible for paid maternity leave. Couples with 2 children also forfeit all free benefits. Those with 3 get their pay cut by 10%, 4, 20%. Many lose jobs altogether. It's clear the government means business. It's a drastic policy. But as Chinese officials note, it's a critical problem. Jim Laurie, ABC News in Shanghai.
And finally, from overseas, a new space shot aimed at the planet Venus. The Soviets have launched an unmanned spacecraft, which they hope will reach Venus by March of next year. Max?
At Cape Canaveral, Peter, the Space Shuttle Columbia begins its final countdown early tomorrow. The launch itself, Columbia's second, is set for Wednesday morning, and ABC will provide live coverage.
It's time for a break.
Nature Valley granola bars, a natural break.
100% natural. I look for that because not all granola bars are. No additives, no preservatives in this tasty, crunchy snack.
There's oats and honey, cinnamon, coconut, peanut,
and almond.
Take the natural break, the Nature Valley break. Nature Valley granola bars.
100% natural.
Place won't be the same without you, Helen.
I could stay on a few more years.
Many Americans retire with only a gold watch. Century, one of the country's largest insurance companies, is helping corporations offer employees more. Century developed Retired Lives Reserve, a benefits package that provides life insurance and peace of mind that continues even after retirement.
Helen, all's well that ends well.
All's well that begins well.
With Century, you know all's well.
Fix Formula 44D, please.
Helen, with this nasty cough plus congestion, I need...
Formula 44D.
But Helen, I need a decongestant, not just strong cough medicine.
You need Formula 44D. It's strong like Formula 44. Has the strongest non-narcotic cough suppressant you can buy. Plus ingredients to help unstuff your nose and loosen up for chest congestion.
That's what I said. Formula 44D. Strong for coughs plus congestion.
Finally tonight in sports, the World Series may be over, but another World Championship begins on Monday. The finals of the National Cutting Horse Association. And as Roger Karras reports, like baseball, There are big rewards for being the best in a competition which has its roots deep in American history.
We conquered our continent on the back of a horse. That was never more true than in the American West. The dependence of a man on his horse was not just a romanticized ideal, it was very real. On a ranch, that relationship meant the difference between success and failure. On the open range, the difference between life and death. Where cattle and vast distances are involved, that relationship lives on. On the King Ranch in Texas, work is done now as it's always been done. To manage the herds, a horse must go one-on-one with a cow, who usually doesn't want to do what the cowboy needs it to do. Eyeball to eyeball, the cutting horse, as he's called, because he cuts animals from the herd, works the cattle like the athlete he is.
And a cutting horse is a horse that has the natural cow in him to work a cow. He's a horse that has to have a lot of intelligence, a lot of speed, and a lot of balance, and a lot of poise.
In this field are 120 mares and their foals, the finest cutting horse blood in the world. These are youngsters whose fire, strength, intelligence, and skill are in demand wherever cattle are raised on the range, and they're all descendants of one great champion. And this is the horse, Mr. San Pepe. Back when cowboys earned $10 a month, they didn't ride horses like him. His syndicated value is about $4 million, but that's justified. Just one of his super offspring, working 7.5 minutes a year, could earn $500,000. How can a horse earn that much working for such a short time? In competition like this, the Super Stakes in Fort Worth, staged by the National Cutting Horse Association. Not a rodeo, it is what cowboys and cutting horses were bred to do. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Jim and Mary Jo Milner, seen here on their ranch near Dallas, are a top husband and wife team. Their annual earnings in the six figures make them superstars. They are both in the Cowboy Hall of Fame.
This mare's the highest money earning horse in the cutting horse industry today. She just locks on one like a bird dog.
The Western horse of today is history on the hoof. One difference, he is better now than he ever was in the past. Roger Karras, ABC News, near Kingsville, Texas.
Thank you, Roger. Once again, tonight's top story, that Soviet submarine is still stuck on the rocks just off the coast of Sweden. The Swedes are indignant, the Russians are embarrassed, the standoff continues. More on the saga of the wayward Russian sub later tonight on Nightline. That's our report for now on World News Tonight. This is Frank Reynolds. For ABC News, good night from Washington.
From ABC, this has been World News Tonight.
Tonight, I'm on Bandstand. Dick Clark's spectacular 3-hour musical event of the year. The biggest names, the hottest music, and a one-time only all-star supergroup. It's American Bandstand's 30th anniversary special.
Tonight.
I'm Teddy Bart. On Newswatch Early Edition, you'll meet a Nashville physician who treated Elvis Presley.
I'm Ann Holt, and the search for 2 Nashville fugitives escalates.
Those stories and more coming up on Newswatch Early Edition next.